Okay, so the European Union is basically declaring war on waste. There's a massive new set of rules just coming out, and it's aimed squarely at one of the biggest, most visible environmental problems we all face, that ever-growing mountain of packaging. And let me tell you, this isn't just some minor tweak. It's a complete rethink of how everything from your online shopping to your weekly groceries gets wrapped, boxed, and sold.
You know the feeling, right? It's so familiar. You order one tiny thing online and it shows up in a box that's practically big enough to live in, stuffed with plastic bubbles. Or you go to the store and a couple of vegetables are sealed up in layers and layers of plastic wrap. It just feels like way too much, and it turns out the data backs up that feeling completely.
Yeah, despite all the talk about recycling for years and years, the amount of packaging waste we're creating in Europe has actually been going up, not down. It's crazy. Both the total amount and the amount per person, we're making more trash than ever. It's exactly that trend that has forced the EU to step in and say, all right, enough is enough. Clearly, the old way isn't working.
So, let's really dive into the heart of the issue here, our growing packaging problem. I mean, to get why this is happening, all we really have to do is look at how we live our lives today. Think about it. The incredible rise of e-commerce is a huge one. That's led to a boom in all that cardboard and delivery packaging. And at the exact same time, we all want convenience, right? We're grabbing a coffee, a salad, a snack on the move, and that has fueled this massive increase in single-use containers. These two things together have created a perfect storm for generating waste. So, in response to this perfect storm, the EU has come up with something called the Packaging and Packaging Waste Regulation, or PPWR for short. The best way to think of it is as a brand new, comprehensive rulebook. It's designed to shift our entire economy away from that old take, make, and throw away model and move us toward a circular one, where we try to keep resources in use for as long as we possibly can.
And this new rulebook has two main goals. On the one hand, it's obviously about the environment, protecting the planet by cutting down on waste. But there's another goal that's just as important, making sure every country in the EU is playing by the same rules. This stops a situation where you have a messy patchwork of different laws, which is a total headache for businesses. It just ensures that packaged goods can move freely across the whole single market.
Okay, so how is this all going to work in practice? Well, the PPWR kind of attacks the problem from three main angles. First up, actually improving the materials that our packaging is made from in the first place. The regulation is bringing in some really strict new requirements. For starters, by 2030, all packaging sold in the EU has to be designed so that it's actually recyclable. And for plastic packaging, there are going to be mandatory targets for how much recycled material has to be in it. And this is a really big one. The rules will restrict the use of those harmful PFAS, the forever chemicals, in packaging that touches our food. That makes things safer for us and for the environment.
Now, the second major strategy is, well, it's simple, but it's really powerful. Just use less packaging to begin with. This whole part is about preventing waste right at the source.
This slide shows one of my favorite new rules because it's so relatable. The PPWR brings in a maximum empty space ratio of 50% for e-commerce and transport boxes. So yeah, the days of getting a comically huge box for one little item are officially numbered. The whole point is to make the packaging fit the product, not the other way around. The regulation also takes direct aim at some specific, really unnecessary single-use plastics. Things like the plastic shrink wrap they use to bundle cans together, or those tiny little shampoo and lotion bottles you get in hotels, or even those super flimsy plastic bags for fruits and veggies at the grocery store. These things and a bunch of others are going to be restricted or just banned outright to help us move away from that throwaway culture.
All right, the third and final piece of the puzzle is all about creating solid systems to make sure that the packaging we do use stays in the system for as long as possible. We're talking about making reuse and high-quality recycling the new norm.
Now, to help all of us recycle better, the EU is bringing in mandatory standardized labels that will be the same in every single country, so no more guessing. They'll clearly show what a package is made of and which bin it belongs in. And for usable packaging, you'll start seeing QR codes that you can scan for info on how and where to return it, making the whole reuse thing way easier to figure out. A really key part of this whole strategy is something called a deposit and return system, or DRS. The name might sound a little technical, but the concept is super simple, and a lot of you might already be using one. It's just when you buy a drink in a bottle or a can, you pay a little extra deposit on top of the price. And then all you do is bring that empty container back to a collection point, like one of those machines at the supermarket. And bam, you get your deposit money right back.
It's a method that's been proven to dramatically boost collection rates, making sure all those valuable materials actually get recycled properly instead of just ending up as litter. And let me tell you, the regulation sets some really ambitious recycling targets for 2030. Just look at these numbers. We're talking about recycling 80% of iron-based metals, 75% of glass, and 55% of plastics. These targets are sending a crystal clear signal that it's time to get serious and invest in the systems to make recycling the default for everyone. So the big question is, when does all this actually happen? Well, the changes won't happen overnight, but the timeline is pretty firm. The main rules are set to start applying in 2026. Then, by 2029, any country that isn't hitting its collection targets will need to have those deposit return systems running. And by 2030, that huge goal of making all packaging recyclable becomes the law. So let's wrap all this up by looking at what it really means for us, in our everyday lives. Because this regulation isn't just some abstract policy document stuck in Brussels. It's designed to literally change the physical world around us. So, what does this all boil down to for you? Well, you can expect to see a lot less wasteful packaging, both on store shelves and in your delivery boxes. You're going to see clearer, consistent labels that finally make recycling less of a guessing game. And you'll be offered more reusable and refillable options. It's all part of a huge, coordinated push away from the throwaway model we've gotten so used to. And underneath all of this is a core idea known as the polluter pays principle. Basically, the regulation makes companies that produce and sell packaged goods more responsible for what happens to that packaging after you're done with it. They'll have to bear more of the financial and operational cost of managing the waste. Ultimately, this whole thing is designed to make all of us rethink our relationship with packaging. So the next time you unbox an order or finish a drink, take a look. What will you see differently? Maybe you'll notice the smarter design, the clearer label, or the recycled material. You'll be looking at a small but really significant part of a massive European effort to build a cleaner, more circular future.